Hello, coaches. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here today with Kat Stancik, who we know as the lead boss. Hi, Kat.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So excited to have you, Kat, and we're celebrating you today. I want to say I met Kat in another group. We were both participants, and Kat and I both made six figures in 12 weeks. So, Kat, woohoo! And Kat is now part of our group, and she's continuing with her streak. She brought in $11,000 last week. And Kat, I want you to share with the coaches, what do you attribute that to? Give us some tips about leads and everything else.
I think a lot of times people try to go towards this one system, one trick pony kind of strategy, where if you do this one thing, then it'll do and fix all the problems. And it's not actually what you do. It's not what I do. It's all about leaning into how do you show up best in the world, leveraging your strengths. And one of the most important things that people tend to shy away from, but that actually will make you multiple six figures, is having the conversation. So, people are like, yeah, sure, fine, like conversation, but it's the conversation not from the angle of how can I get this person to say yes? How can I get this person to buy? How can I get their credit card information? It's not that conversation. The conversation is how can I serve? How can I be? How can I add value to this other human being that I see across the internet and be able to nurture a relationship? I mean, what I talk about is value the relationship over the transaction. So I attribute it to that. I mean, the thing though that I have to say is, I've done this and done it multiple times over, but there's something different about you and how you do it, right? So of course I could go do the same program again and again, and I have, but I decided to do a shift because I didn't want to keep pushing so hard. So, there's this hustle mentality too, and sure, we can all fall into it. But what would business look like if you could achieve the same level of success with ease? That was my goal. That was what I wanted to work on. And with you, especially, is because you epitomize this ease of like, you're always winning and doing this stuff with your clients. I'm like, hell, like, how is she doing this? And I wanted to know. So I ponied up so that I could learn how to recreate success, right? Not just doing it once, but doing it multiple times over with ease.
So, Kat, I love this. I love this. And by the way, congratulations. I know you're on your way to your MCC. Woohoo! You've been here doing this a while.
Yeah.
I agree. Most of us have learned to do stuff through hustle, through hard work, through putting in a lot of hours. And you said, I'm up for this, to do this with ease and flow. So, what did you find out last week that made this happen with ease and flow? What happened?
I'm kind of a left-brained person where I like systems and processes, and this procedure leads to this, and it's very tactical. So the sense of being, right? So, and I know every time someone's like, you need to be more, I'm like, how do you do that? How do you be? And I need a guide, and there's not really a, blueprint to how to be. And it was really leaning into the ability for money and clients to come in with ease without the intention of trying to make it happen. So it's this duality of still taking action, but leaving the space, right, for something to come in unexpectedly. And that is something that I want to happen more often. And it doesn't mean that I'm sitting in the corner manifesting and not doing anything, right? It means that I am manifesting, that my higher self is working, right? Like I was telling someone today, I was like, I'm going to let my higher self do the overtime. Me and my body right now, I'm just going to take the action that I know typically leads to results. And I'll let my higher self do what she needs to do in order to help amplify the results. And so I'm taking the action, and I'm taking the action in faith that these things will produce a result, even if I can't see it right now.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And I know, like, this is a little new for you, right? So I really want to say congratulations on kind of coming out of that closet. And as you got interviewed by a best-selling author who sold like 50,000 books on the law of attraction, and he put you up to the front of the line. So I want to know, Kat, what did you tell him? What did you tell those listeners? I want to know.
It was really interesting. So I will say that I worked with you privately before I came into your QSI program, and you had made this invitation, and it was, of course, yes. And before, you had mentioned something, and I was in a place of stuck, because I can get into stuck just like everybody else. And you were telling me about this book that you'd read and one of the exercises in it. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll try it. I'm always game to try it. And so I tried it, and it produced results. And it was all with this same focus of creating this ease of, it's not that I'm just sitting here not doing anything and money's appearing out of nowhere. It's I'm doing stuff and money will appear out of nowhere based off of the actions that I took. And so it started happening. And then I'm doing the exercise. And then I was like, man, what's going on? And then I started doing it again. And then the money started coming again. I was like, okay, hold on. There's this correlation here. And basically, I think it was a week or two later, I went to this networking event, and the exercise, you'd shown me the book. I even ordered it. The guy who wrote the book was right there at the networking event. And literally he came on, and I was like, I just bought your book. So like pretty much verbally accosted him. And so then what did I do? I followed the process. I reached out and connected with him. I had a conversation. Through the course of the conversation, he was like, wow, you really seem to have your stuff together, right? And you know what you're talking about. I went to this podcasting event. I wasn't looking for people to be on my show. I was looking to be a guest, but I want to open up a window for you to come and be a guest. And then he was a guest on mine, and I was a guest on his. Within that same week, it was just universe was working its magic. And at the end of the podcast, he goes, I'm going to push you up. I'm going to release this on Monday, and we recorded it on Friday, and share what you have to do with the audience. And this was, he had all of these other people that he'd recorded podcasts that were in queue and ready, and had to reshuffle all of that, because he decided that what we went through in terms of an experience together and sharing information was of such value that he wanted to get it out into the world faster. And was just a huge compliment to me, and spoke to his personality. And, it was amazing, honestly, to have those things happen all of a sudden like that. It's not coincidence.
No, synchronicity, right? Now,
Yes.
Kat, what do you think it was? What did you say in that interview that you think was like the gem or the nugget that pushed it up to the top? I'm just really curious about what you shared. The content.
It's really funny. Everything I say is valuable. But when I'm talking and I'm in those kind of spaces, I really feel like I'm channeling. So sometimes I have I'm talking and I'm sharing value, and it's almost this out of body experience where I see myself and hear myself saying things, and I'm looking and I'm going, that's pretty smart. And I think it really comes down to who I am as a person and how I align that to my process, which is valuing the relationship over the transaction. And what are the things you can do to demonstrate that, and the tools and strategies that align with that? Because at the end of the day, we know that people buy from people, but if you don't share who you are, you don't share your values, you don't share what you're for and what you're against, they can't buy from you because they don't know you.
I love that. And, really taking a stand. What are you for? What are you against? What are you about? Because it is true. One of the reasons you came to me was because you wanted that ease and joy. You had had a lot of success. I mean, you know how to have success, but now let's add this part in. Yeah. And a lot of synchronicities are occurring for you, Kat. So I always like to say business by synchronicity is much easier. The wind beneath our wings, right?
I just got chills on that one. So,
all right. Well, you have the wind beneath your wings. Is there anything else that you want to share with the coaches that you think can, you said you want to serve them? Many coaches are saying, I want to have these conversations. You're talking about conversations. I'm talking about conversations. How do we find the people to have the conversations with? You're the lead boss, Kat. So in addition to serving, how do we get those leads?
So, I talk a lot about, people are always making lead generation a lot harder than it has to be. So they look at having to do, Facebook ads or any kind of ads or these complicated funnels or these, maybe recreating these like 5-day challenges and, these huge immersive experiences that are, free or whatever. And I really think that, none of those strategies are wrong. Like there's no wrong strategy, but it's making sure that you're aligning the right strategy for where you are in business. And if you're not creating consistency and predictability in your business, meaning that if you've made a plan for the year, and let's say you decide you're going to do a group every 3 months, and you don't know with real confidence that you're going to be able to actually fill those groups every single time and hit those revenue marks, then you got to go back to basics. Right. And the basics are what people are using at 6 figures, 7 figures, and 8 figures. Now, the people at 7 figures and 8 figures, they're not doing it, but they've done it so much that they can delegate it. They know what it takes. What are the words? What are the connections that help have that conversation that converts into a client? So to generate the leads, you got to practice. You've got to do the work. I've never been one of those easy button strategy kind of gals. If you're looking for that, you're not going to make it in business. So what I would recommend is going out, know who your ideal client is enough, good enough, not perfect. It's always changing, but go and have those conversations and share with people what you're working on and see if you're using the right language. Because if you're someone who doesn't want to work with someone who's new in business, then you shouldn't be using the word cash, for example. Cash is a lower level monetary vibration. It's not wrong. In order to get to profits, you need to go through cash first. But make sure that you're using the right languaging and being willing to put yourself out there. You are going to hear no, but here's the opportunity. When you're growing and scaling your business and creating consistency and predictability, the proof of success is the fact that you've been able to turn more no's into yes. When you do that, you will get more yeses out of the gate.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Oh, I love this, Kat. And it's so true. We talk about our market research conversations, and every conversation can be market research. Every
Yeah.
conversation, you will learn a nugget of what your ideal client, how they say things. And, like you said, use the word cash. Now, if you use the word cash flow, that's a different word, right?
Yeah,
That is
it's a
a
totally different
higher
word.
level word, right? But just cash. And I always like to look at the stages of business: build, grow, and scale, right?
Yep.
So we are in grow. You have been growing, and I know you're scaling too because you're at that point. But I love what you're saying about really these leads. And I read a statistic the other day that each of us knows between 290 and 600 people that actually we know that know us that would take our calls.
Yep.
So people are going, where are the leads? They're all around you, right?
You're already connected to your next complete group program, right? So, and that's the thing that people are making harder is the people that are going to buy from you, you are already connected to. Now, what you want to do is continue to fill the pipeline. That's where people get stuck. That's where you have a lot of one-hit wonders where these programs will help you make a quick, cash return on investment, maybe, right? But then they can't create the repeatable results. And it's because they've monetized your current connections, but they haven't filled the pipeline with people who are interested, who are ready to buy. So statistically speaking, 3%, I'm using the higher end of the brackets because there's always a range. 3% of people are ready to buy from you right now. In this moment, you're connected. They're just waiting for you to ask the right question. Now, great. A lot of people stay focused on that 3%. You're leaving 97% of the money on the table. So the other statistics there is 7% of people need just a little bit more information, right? They just need to know a little bit more about you to get to the 3%. That's 10% of the people you're connected to. Now, the next 60% of people, they just need to be nurtured to get to the 7%, to get to the 3%. And the problem is that most people are marketing towards the bottom 30%. The people who are never going to buy from you, the freebie seekers, people looking to build their business on free information. It doesn't work that way. So if you're not actively out there putting out content, having conversations, marketing to the top 70, not just the top 3, but the top 70, you're leaving a lot of money on the table and you're doing yourself a disservice by expecting to have these huge, amazing results in the first effort that you try. It's practice. Practice makes perfect.
And you're making it hard on yourself, I think, if you're doing it that way. Now, this is so interesting because if you think of the statistic I just gave you, between 290 and 600 people, that top 10%, so some of them just need a little bit more, that's like 29 to 60 people. Like, how many people do you need in your group? 10, something like that, right?
Right?
Even 6 if you're just starting out. So, they're right there. And I just love this, Kat, because, I wrote the book, The Clients You Are Seeking Are Also Seeking You. They're
Yes.
right in front of you. So I just want to say this to the coaches. If you take one big nugget to take out of this interview with Kat is your clients are in front of you. Your leads are in front of you. They're not somewhere else. You don't have to go somewhere else. You just have to identify your ideal client and realize who they are. All right,
So there's
Kat,
a imagery
final
that
word.
I was gonna say, so just aligning to that real quick, which is, and so this is like a little pop question. So what do car keys, your cell phone, the remote control, and your glasses have in common? It's the same thing as your leads. You can't find them when you're looking for them. When you're actively trying to do it, right? You end up throwing everything else, messing up your house, trying to find the thing that was probably on the top of your head, that was probably hanging on the keychain, that was next to you on the couch. So instead of trying to search so hard, step into that ease and notice who's engaging with your stuff, who's commenting, who's reaching out. That's who you want to be talking to.
Yes, and then you can use the one famous Rachel question of how are you doing? What's keeping you up at night? Boom. But notice those people. See, Kat, you are the lead boss. Well, I want to just say congratulations, Kat, for your financial success on your way to your MCC. And thank you for all that you do for your clients. I know you make a big difference.
Thank you. And you as well. Thank you for all that you do.
Oh, you're welcome. All right. We're complete for this interview for now, and we'll see you on the next one.